a measurement that I call productive governance, improving 5 core outcomes within society. So 5 specific issues that by improving all of them, you improve the general well-being of all of society. And those 5 core outcomes are opportunity, stability, fairness, liberty, and long-term societal success. Now, let's go into what each of those actually means. So the first one is opportunity. And this is the ability for people to improve their lives through effort and access systems. So in real world terms, that could be increasing the job market, increasing wages, better access to cheaper housing, or it could be as simple as better access to more green spaces. It could be better access to improved public transport networks. It is anything that gives people the ability to improve their lives, that helps them attain their aspirations. And that could be a broad range of things, and on a case-by-case basis, whatever that is going to change. But that is the first of the core outcomes, that anything that a government should do should first focus on. So the next one is stability. And stability is the ability to rely on systems and plan for the future. So it's all well and good having lots of opportunity here, there, and everywhere, but if that opportunity isn't consistent, it isn't delivered in a sustainable and constant way, how are you supposed to build your life around it? You need the stability there. The systems have to work consistently in a way that you can foresee, plan, and then build around, because you build a house on foundations, and if those foundations are jumping all over the place, you're never going to be able to build a strong house. So the next one is fairness. And this is the consistent and impartial application of the rules. So what that means is that within a system, you could have increases in opportunity, you could have increases in stability. But if certain people or certain groups are able to access those opportunities or that stability at a better rate, or because the rules and regulations that govern the opportunity and the stability are so complex that certain people, either with the knowledge to navigate them better, or people, more importantly, people with the wealth to employ people who are better able to navigate those systems, it gives them an advantage. It gives them an advantage which isn't fair. And as such, you want to produce a system that is as fair for everyone, where, all right, everyone is going to get different things out, but the core concept is that if you are actively participating and working towards that, you are building yourself a better life, that you should have just as much chance as someone else. And that's where fairness comes in. It's more about system behavior as opposed to the direct outcomes. Okay, so the next one is liberty. And this is a really important one. And of the 5, this would probably be weighted more heavily than the others. If you're constantly reducing your system of governance to tangible outcomes, then you run the risk of reducing people to numbers, of making people just cogs in the machine. And sure, doing that can lead to a far more efficient system, but it will almost inevitably result in the trampling of people's liberties, of their freedoms. And that is one thing which, as a conservative, and frankly as just a decent human being, I think cannot be tolerated. You could build a system that is incredibly efficient, but if that efficiency results in the loss of personal liberties, of personal freedoms, then really what good is that system? And then the final of the 5 points is long-term societal success. And this is the ability of the system to sustain and improve itself over time. Now, see, that's got 2 sections. The first one is the ability of the system to sustain itself. So you could build a perfect system that gives great levels of opportunity, of stability, of fairness and liberty, and it's fantastic. But if it only does that for the current generation, and the next generation of people come along and suddenly there's nothing left for them, well, the whole foundation upon which the society is built, which is the constant renewal of people going into that society and achieving what they can and building a better society, it undermines that. And frankly, that's something that we are starting to see at present, with younger generations finding it much harder to find the same opportunities that older generations had. And it's having a very detrimental effect to the country. Just look at how younger people are flocking to the political extremes of far left and far right. And you've got the older people who are more centrist saying, well, I can't believe, why are they doing this? It makes no sense. If you've got nothing to protect, then you've got nothing to lose by risking it on something more risky. And frankly, you've got everything to gain. So if you don't build a system that purposefully is sustainable, that allows the same opportunities that people achieved in one generation to be achieved by the people of the next generation, you're not going to have a system that works in perpetuity. And then the second aspect of that long-term success is that one where the system improves itself over time. And this is something that modern politics is desperately lacking. And it's something that I personally can't see why you wouldn't integrate into the system itself. Current politics acts as if, even if it comes up with the most perfect piece of legislation, which I know never really happens, but imagine it did. Imagine you've got a phenomenal piece of legislation that ticks every box, that even though every piece of legislation has trade-offs, it has positives, it has negatives, imagine this one doesn't. Well, it only doesn't have negatives. It's only so perfect for the time that it was created. That only works on the principle that the world is static, that systems don't change, that the world doesn't change, that people don't change, which everybody knows that they do. So unless you build in the capacity for the system to self-regulate itself, to improve itself, to identify negative factors that may not have been negative when they were introduced, but are certainly negative now, you cannot have a system that is truly adaptive over time